It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolo, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
The Pete Sousa Show is back on a Tuesday. We are live here from upstairs of the Alico building in Central Texas, presented by Slovacek's, Crawford Austin Properties, of course, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, D1 Socorro Family Ford. Things are going so well on the show. Socorro Family Ford, they might want a new piece of real estate on the scoreboard over here. They might want to move that over to where D1 is. Maybe we'll do a switch, because we are rocking and rolling. Numbers continue to grow. Like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys checking us out. Hit that alert button. The more and more we talk, I was talking to my buddy at the Big 12 yesterday, this guy, Kari Black. He played basketball in college. I forget where he played. He used to work at the American Conference. And I was talking to him about off-season content for the Big 12. And we were just talking about and this is more the Pete Sousa show, not necessarily how the Big 12 could craft this, but we were just talking about where everything's going, and more reaction stuff. I got to get myself into a place where I keep threatening you guys with more reaction stuff. I almost did it Saturday after the Texas Tech loss. We talked about that yesterday. I was so dejected. But I also like, I have a gauge on myself. Like, do people really want to hear what I have to say after a Texas Tech basketball game? Like, I don't know. And that's just me being honest, right? Like, I drone on enough around here and at home. So anyways, but I think that's something we should probably do. And we're going to get more into that. So hit that alarm button, okay? So we can let you know when we do start to go live at random times in the middle of the night. So if you can't sleep and I can't sleep, we can talk together while we both can't sleep because Texas Tech blew a lead. By the way, we're going to be talking to Chris Spatola from ESPN and SiriusXM Radio, former Army basketball player, former Duke assistant. He is now the co-host of a show called The Social Replay with ESPN's Down Cuff. Like I say to Chris when I chat with him, you got to watch the show. Number one, because it's funny. There's two dudes that are real talented and know a lot about hoops, but they're both funny and they have a good chemistry and they do a nice job breaking each other's balls. And it's a lot of fun. And I mentioned this to Chris. I was like, Chris is an Army guy. Okay. You just look, man, he's an Army guy. Tours of duty, Army guy. Like, I have a reverence for those type of people, and in this case, dudes, that is just like up here. So when I get to talk to Chris, anytime, I've worked probably 3 or 4 basketball games with him over the past 2 years, and he's funny, he's to the point, and honestly, I feel like for me, he commands respect. But he also has amazing analysis on college hoops, and he's got a wealth of knowledge that he dips into when he shares that analysis. And, talking to him today about the Final Four, where college basketball is going, the 4 number 1 seeds. I even get an opportunity to hear what show he's watching with his wife. There's a couple shows, so you got to stay tuned. Pumped to share the combo with Chris. Just taped it this morning right before we started here. I know this is basketball season. Last night, Texas women's basketball team making the Final Four, which is so fun. It's so funny that they play. And I guess that Final Four, that regional was in Birmingham. But I can't believe, I've been to Spokane. I can't believe they had a regional in Spokane, Washington. That's great. It's not the easiest place to get to. But the late final, by the way, let me check that out. I got to be totally honest with you. I watched all of the Texas game, but I fell asleep. I didn't watch the second game. Let's check that out. Who is going to the Final Four? UConn, of course. Paige Beckers had 31. No surprise. Without Juju Watkins, you knew it was going to be tough. And yeah, so here we are. We got our Final Four set. And I was bummed to see TCU lose because I love Sedona Prince. There's some always like, I like how she's like an electric player on the floor and kind of like a mystery off of it. There was all kinds of stuff in the offseason around her. And I don't like any of the stuff that could be serious and dark. But she's an interesting person, right? Anybody that can have like a whole TikTok page devoted to her and her relationships, and then can play like that on the floor. You've got my attention. So it's kind of sad to see her career end because, she played 4 years at Texas, transferred to Oregon, and then was with Haley Van Lith, like resurrected that program at TCU. And they'd never made an Elite Eight, I don't think. I don't know if they made a Sweet 16 before this year. And last year, they were just trying out randos to make the team. So it was a bummer to see them lose, but also Vic Schaefer, a great coach at Texas. Cool to see them go to a Final Four. It was cool to see the legendary Jody Conrad there, who won a championship with Texas, I think, in '86. And, it's always cool to see because we talk a lot about Texas. Texas is kind of like the Cowboys almost. Like they're so influential in the state of Texas as far as people kind of put them on a pedestal. And although whether that's earned or not, it is awesome every so often to see them remind us of why they're on the pedestal. We saw men's college football, right? What Sark is doing there is really cool. A couple years ago, they were flirting with the Final Four. And, they came up short against Miami and our buddy Norshad Omir. And that was kind of the beginning of even though it was the beginning for Rodney Terry, it was kind of like the beginning of the end because he gets the contract after that. And then he just was never able to revisit that success. But then, this year we see the women's basketball team going to the Final Four. So good for Texas, good for the folks on 40 acres. I know Scotty probably doesn't like that, being a card-carrying Baylor guy. But you do have to respect Texas. And there's a lot of hype around Texas. But imagine if they win this women's basketball championship. Like, that would be a pretty big feather in their cap, Scotty, don't you think?
Sorry. Yeah.
Seems like a sincere yeah.
No, it's very sincere. Here's the difference. And you heard me say this on my show. Please bear with me this weekend. There's a school in the state of Texas that struts around like they're big stuff and haven't ever won anything.
Oh man, Texas A&M's about to.
I was gonna say, I'm not talking about Texas Tech. They've won things. I'm talking about Texas A&M. They haven't won anything. But then there's a school that struts around like they're big stuff, and it's Texas. And at their best, they've won many things.
So you can accept Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I'm a Baylor fan,
Yeah.
but I accept that is one of the best athletic departments in the history of the country. They not only have the money, they've got the trophies as well. And I generally think when Texas, Baylor fans might crucify me for this, but it's true. I think when Texas is competitive on a national level, it's good for the whole state. I do.
Yeah.
A&M has similar money and not at all similar history in terms of wins and losses and championships. And the fan base acts like they are the premier school in Texas, and they're just not.
Let me ask you
They're
this
just
off
not.
the top of my head, and I'm not trying to pile on A&M here because that's a
No,
school.
yeah.
Even when I was in high school, I wanted to play football for RC Slocum. Or Jackie. No, it was RC Slocum. Jackie Sherrill, I think, was in Mississippi State at the time. Either way, it wasn't good enough. So back to you. What has Texas A&M ever won?
Great question.
I'm being dead serious.
No, I'm dead serious. Like nothing. Like they I don't want to act like they have no tradition. That is with great tradition. They have storied tradition. They've had many good football teams.
By the way, stay with the segment 2. We actually have a real military person.
They have
not people.
yeah.
Chris actually served in the Army.
The real military.
Yeah, the real military.
No. They're it is not like bottom of the barrel athletic department at all.
No kidding.
I mean, Johnny Manziel,
no kidding. But I'm asking you a point blank question. Do I need to look it up? Like
I can't name off the top of my head
what's the biggest sporting event they have ever won?
It's not. I think they claim a national championship in football, but it's not that. It's not one they actually won on the field. I think that's something they get roasted for a lot. Is they've got years on the stadium where they've claimed championships where it's like, well, in this one poll we were ranked number 1.
What year would that be?
Like the 40s or the 50s, like
Christ.
Forever freaking ago, right?
Okay.
Yeah. No, so I cannot off the top of my head tell you. I don't think they've ever won it in football, men's basketball. They did win a women's basketball championship a while back.
Okay.
When they were still in the Big 12.
Okay.
They were so I'll give them that. Like it's again, it's not a nothing.
But look at how many
it's the fact that they're fans and
how many did
alum.
Baylor win with Kim Mulkey? Like 3?
More. Yeah, exactly. It's the fact that their fan base struts around like we're the top dogs, and they get I call it little sister syndrome. They get so offended if you suggest the University of Texas is the premier program in the state because they think they're right there. But when you look at their history, especially in football, it's not close.
So you could
not close.
So with all the hype and the pomp and circumstance around Texas A&M, we know they have tons of money. Their stadium is beautiful. For the most part, it's always jam packed.
Yeah, great fan.
By the way, God,
great. That's the fan base you want if you're a player. Yeah. They're all in and they're loud and they're great. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Totally.
Unfortunately, by week 8, they're usually 4-4. That's what the bummer is. I mean,
Like let me put it this way. Because I've been ragging on them, and I need to be objective.
No,
I wish Baylor's fan base had 10% of the stick with it that A&M's fan base has.
Yeah,
like Baylor's fan base is the classic. If we're winning, we're hype. If we're losing, screw you. We're not even going to go to the game. Yeah. I hate that. I wish we were more passionate, dedicated like their fans are. Props to them. But I'd rather be Baylor's athletic department. More conference championships in football, national championship in basketball.
I'm about to say, in the past, since I've been to Waco, and I just missed the Art Briles era, I've still witnessed 2 Sugar Bowls and 2 Big 12 title games, one of which they won.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's and one Sugar Bowl, which they won.
Right.
Like what? I don't know that A&M has had that success.
Well, but then their fans want to turn out their nose and say, "Well, that's why we went to the SEC." It's like, okay, and that was wiser than staying in the Big 12. Like, do you think you could have won?
Well, that was purely money.
Oh, I know, and we know that.
Yeah,
we know that. But well, Baylor won because they're still in the Big 12. Okay, and what have you done lately? Like,
yeah.
By the way, before they left for the SEC, they weren't winning the Big 12 either. Texas, Oklahoma, Texas Tech was in the title once. Oklahoma State was in the conversation. A&M wasn't winning the Big 12 when they were still in the Big 12.
What has A&M won outside?
Nothing, bro. In football, it's nothing. The answer: Johnny Manziel won a Heisman. That's what they've got. It's
amazing because they do have this vibe, like they have accomplished so much.
Look, Bear the Truth's chiming in. I appreciate him. He says they won the Southwest Conference and have
Southwest Conference.
Exactly. They've won Southwest Conference titles and have lived on that for years. I don't think they ever won the Big 12. The whole time they were in the Big 12, I don't think they ever won it. I think Texas and Oklahoma, obviously have the most by far. Kansas State had some, Nebraska had some, but Colorado had one. I don't think A&M ever won it. And they've not won an SEC. I don't even think they haven't even been in an SEC championship game yet.
I don't think so. No, I mean, I go all the way back being like a football nerd. Like I remember Greg Hill. I remember Aaron Glenn. Of course, I'm talking about R.C. Slocum. Like
legend, R.C. Slocum, great coach.
Oh unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from.
No, and you can't say that they're not one of the premier football programs in the country. But at the same time,
I can say that. Listen, for me, premier football program means you've won championships. And I'm not even saying it has to be like a national title every 10 years, but like teams that are consistently in their conference championship game and winning 10 games.
They were good this year. I mean, there's no question.
They didn't. Oh my gosh. Well,
go ahead. Tell me.
I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Okay.
I can't call them a premier
When
program.
they played Texas, right, late in the season, that was a super exciting game.
Let's just name. Look, okay. Let's just
December 1st. I remember it. It was like there was so much.
It was an exciting game, and I'm excited that rivalry's back. I think that's good for the state and good for football. But they are not going to win that game most years. They're not.
Yeah,
they're not going to. I'm sorry. Like there was even times in the past where I was rooting for them to win that game, but no, they're not going to. I mean, Pete. Okay, you said premier football. You said premier football programs. Let's start. Let's think about. What are actually premier college football programs? Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan,
Notre Dame now,
Penn State, Notre Dame. Yeah. I'd put them in there. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, always Notre Dame, but
Texas,
definitely now again.
I'd say Oklahoma still. I know it's been a rough couple of years. Oklahoma's a premier program. Maybe USC. The last 10 years have been rough, but certainly at one time.
Did you say Michigan?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, Michigan. What do all those teams have in common?
Championships.
Yeah. Conference championships. Oregon, right? They're in there now. And all those teams are in the playoff regularly.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay,
yeah, come on.
The first line, and this is Wikipedia. Texas A&M Aggies claim 3 national titles and have won 21 conference titles.
Claim.
They claim.
Now dig in on that.
Two Heisman Trophy winners. We forgot John David Crow and Manziel, but that Crow was 57.
Yeah. Legend. I mean, great.
Yeah, amazing. He was the first redshirt freshman ever to win the award. A&M had 2 perfect seasons, having gone undefeated and unscored upon in 1917 and 1919. And in 1939, the year of my father's birth, they were named AP national champion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the past almost century, props to you in 1917. Unscored upon is genuinely impressive. I don't care what era. That's impressive. Okay. I'll give them 1970.
All right, hold on. So let's go. All right. Jackie Sherrill took over the program, won 3 consecutive conference titles and 2 Cotton Bowls. Okay. R.C. Slocum then replaced him. Slocum finished in the top 25, 10 of his 14. So that's awesome. And he did win 4 conference titles. That was Southwest Conference, though, right? Yeah. Including the school's only Big 12 title. That was his last year. In 98. Slocum owns the Aggies' last undefeated season in 1994, but they were ineligible because of conference sanctions. So they were perfect in 94.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And that is why I remember them. That's why I remember Aaron Glenn and Greg Hill, because that was the 94 team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words, we are a quarter of the way through the 21st century.
Yeah.
And in this century, they have Johnny Manziel. That's it. That's it.
In the 2007 season, the Aggies finished in a 3-way tie for third place. Texas Tech. Yeah. There's not a ton of success here. I mean, and then you had A&M was that program, like Dennis Francione had success, and then he went to Alabama, right?
Dude, even when he was at A&M, I do remember this. I was old enough to remember this. He was not well loved as the head coach at A&M.
Okay.
People thought he underperformed at A&M.
All right, let's check
and then
basketball.
He was a bad
real
hire
quick.
at Alabama.
The basketball, Texas A&M basketball has been dormant for much of its recent history. Until the mid-2000s, the Aggies have won 11 conference championships, 2 conference tournament titles, and have 10 NCAA tournament appearances. Under former head coach Billy Gillespie, the Aggies finished 4th.
Wait, rewind. 10 NCAA tournament appearances?
Yeah.
Ever?
That's what it says, yeah. Yeah.
Folks, that's not good. Like, I'm sorry. That's rough. You know how many teams get into that thing every year?
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know how many times they've made the Sweet 16. The Aggies were 1 point short of advancing to the Sweet 16.
Folks, listen.
Yeah, it's not good. But honestly, it's a really interesting education when you just put it down on paper, because so much of college sports is the pomp and circumstance, the emotion.
Yeah.
And also the environment, like a Texas Tech or Texas A&M football game. I've been lucky enough to go to a couple. It's like nothing you've ever seen.
It's awesome.
It's
I
amazing.
will not take that away from
and
them.
you get swallowed up by that environment at Kyle Field. It's not the same at McLean Stadium.
No.
I mean, it's head and shoulders above
I
that
can see
fan experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here, but again, so going back to 15 minutes ago, what kicked off this whole thing? The reason I, as a Baylor fan, can say yes to UT and I really struggle with A&M is, as a Baylor fan, I root for an athletic department that has less money, smaller school, smaller alumni base, and yet has often overexceeded expectations. Women's basketball national championships, men's basketball national championship, multiple Big 12 titles, Sugar Bowl victory, right? That's exceeding where Baylor should be. Texas is a school that I think often meets expectations. Big budget, good ADs, all the resources, and they win championships. A&M's the opposite. They have the big budget, the hype, the fan base, the facilities, all of it, your location, all of it. And they underperform expectations.
I got to challenge one thing. When you say location, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I think and Baylor, Texas, and A&M, I think, have this in common. I think Central Texas is a pristine location.
Yeah, but dude, I would have,
because you can recruit Dallas, Houston, Austin, East Texas.
I would much rather live in Waco, and of course,
I would too.
Austin before College Station.
I would too. My point is for kids that want their parents to come to the football games, those 3 schools, it's prime time. Like, a parent can drive. Like, that's where I think Texas Tech, like what Joey McGuire is doing at Tech, is very impressive, because you're convincing Austin and Houston kids to move 8 hours north.
Yeah.
And that's just like, that is a feat compared to like convincing them to come to Waco. Like, it is.
Okay.
But I think College Station's like, you can still recruit like the heck out of East Texas and Houston, Dallas, Austin kids.
You know,
the smoke and mirrors around A&M is very. This sounds contradictory, but it's very real.
I know.
It's
we
crazy.
did not plan this segment, but this has been a blast.
Yeah, we did not plan it. It was a blast.
And I am wearing a maroon hat today, but it is from Austin, so take that for what it is.
Okay, we're coming up next with Chris Spatola. We're going to break down the Final Four, talk about basketball, find out what show is Chris Spatola, the captain, ESPN, Sirius XM Radio, and you got to check out his pod with Dallin Cuff. It is called The Social Replay. Right now, a quick break. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics, back after this short respite.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Unlock your full potential with On It, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, On It has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. At Rolls Rolla, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At Toussaint's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Toussaint's.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
Calling all Marvel fans, get Marvel Unlimited and unlock over 30,000 comics featuring your favorite heroes and iconic stories, all available to read anytime, anywhere. Whether you're into classic tales or the latest adventures, there's something for everyone. Don't miss out. Head to marvel.com/unlimited today and start your Marvel journey now.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
I've seen, it's so weird, dude, because I'm like, I'm weird with the social media stuff. It's like, you got to do what you got to do. You got to promote your stuff. But also, like, what you and Dallin are putting out there is, like, funny stuff. Like, when I scroll through and I watch it, it makes me laugh. And
yeah, I appreciate that.
We'll start right there. When I sent him a message this morning when I found out we were going to be, like, 5 minutes behind schedule. I was like, dude, I can't be late for Chris.
Yeah,
because I've seen him say that too. I'm like, nobody wants to be late for the captain, dude.
Dude, I thought you were referencing that when you said that.
Yeah, so. I did not want to screw it up. So I want to start here. We're in March. You got a lot of experience in March, obviously.
Yeah.
ESPN analyst, played college basketball at Army. You coached for Duke. You guys had a championship run in 2010. Your 4 number 1 seeds. First of all, did you have this? Like Jay Billis had it, and I remember I watched him talk about it, and I was like, man, that's kind of a cop out. 4 number 1 seeds, but here we are, right?
Yeah, it's kind of how the year has gone. Those 4 teams that are in that Final Four have been the best teams all year. Florida took a little bit longer to hit their stride than maybe those other three. And in Alabama, I got bamboozled a little bit by the way Auburn rather finished the season, losing 3 of 4. I thought they looking back on it now, Pete, I thought Auburn got a little bit bored with the end of the season. I think they had played so well and had been the best team for so long that, especially defensively, I thought they got a little bit bored by the end of the year, and I got bamboozled a little bit by how they were playing. But when you look at the 3 losses down the stretch of the season, I mean, 2 of them were to Elite 8 teams in Alabama and Tennessee, and the other was on the road at Texas A&M. So we've been gifted with this Final Four. I mean, this is the best thing that could have happened for the sport. Last couple of years, certainly last year, Purdue and UConn had separated from the rest of the field. I think we had 4 teams this year that did that, and we're all going to see them in San Antonio.
The 4 number 1 seeds, is that an aberration, or do you think that's where we're headed as a sport?
No, I think it's not necessarily an aberration, but I don't think I'm not driving a referendum like a lot of people are. A, on the sport, and B, on the tournament from this result. We get different things every year, man. It's just the way that this thing goes. And I think there's so much pressure. The standard for college basketball to meet people's expectations, and most of them are people who don't watch the sport during the regular season. They parachute into a 3-week tournament, and they drive these sweeping referendums off of results year to year. I mean, if we had 6 mid-majors in the Sweet 16, people would have complained about that, would have driven a different referendum on where the sport is at. It's just kind of what this tournament has become. So no, I don't think it's an aberration. I don't think it has anything to do with NIL. I think it's just sort of the way this thing has fallen out, and given, kind of where the sport was this year, we just got a real chalky Sweet 16, and obviously the chalkiest you could get in this Final Four.
You talked about Auburn, and that brings me to my next question. The conference tournaments, like we saw what Michigan did, right? Yeah. And it didn't seem to have a ton of impact on their seeding. Vice versa, we saw what Auburn did. Didn't have a ton of impact on their seeding. What do you make of the conference tournaments? Are they still impactful for the way that we're seeding and the way that we move into March for the tournament?
Yeah, I think so from a team perspective. I mean, it depends on the coach. Like, for example, you mentioned that national championship we won in 2010 when I was at Duke. We won the ACC championship. And what I think people need to understand is, like, that's the first time all year that you play a game where if you lose, you are out of the tournament. Like, all regular season, no matter what happens in the game you're playing, there's always another game to prepare for the next day. So win or lose, you are moving on with your season. The conference tournament is the first time where that's not the case, where if you lose, you go home. And I think that matters, especially for teams that want to win, that want to win a national championship. And it's interesting, of the Final Four, 3 of those teams won their conference tournament championship. Like I said, we did in 2010. And I think it was a big part of us moving forward, sort of understanding the dynamics of that one and done element which is college basketball. So I think it's important. I understand coaches looking at it differently. I understand the desire to be healthy. It was interesting not every year. There were years where Coach K would kind of be like, it'd be okay if we lost in this thing. But the competitor comes out, and then we'd get into the games, and he's like, screaming and yelling at everybody. And it's like, oh, I thought it was okay if maybe we lost this game. So I think they matter. But to your point, it has proven out that they do not matter for seeding. The committee does not factor that in.
You make a great point, though. It matters for the kids. It matters for the guys, like for them to understand the stakes of the whole deal, almost to have that impact, like, wow, we lost. And now we're going home. Now maybe we get a chance to rest up, but at the same time, it does sort of make it very obvious, like, this is the high stakes situation we're in now as we get into March.
Yeah, and the preparation piece, too, is another important part of it. You get it a little bit during feast week, where you have a game the next day, so you got to prepare overnight for another opponent. Now, feast week, you don't have that one and done. Like, even if you lose day one, you're going to have a game the next day in the losers bracket, but you're still playing. The piece of having to prepare in a hotel ballroom, having to do a quick scout, and in the conference tournaments, you've prepared for those teams during the regular season, but you get the point. That's another element to, that quick turnaround, and that quick preparation piece is very important.
I appreciate you kind of taking us behind the curtain, and you took me behind the curtain earlier this year. That kind of, again, the Spatola segue into the next question. We chatted this year. We had a game at Baylor, and you kind of were shedding some light on the scheduling situation with college basketball and how that could be changed. Conversations you've had with Coach K, other people in college basketball, about all of our big games in college basketball are front-loaded to the early portion of the calendar where, A, there's not a ton of eyeballs on them, and B, they do have such a say in how the rest of the season goes ranking-wise. You know, like, what do you make of where we're headed as a sport? And is that something that can be remedied anytime soon? So we do have a late season game. And it sucked because we got the one example, Illinois and Duke, and Illinois got crushed at the Garden this year. So it's like, what, you know, you could say, why the hell would you want to play that game if you're Illinois?
Yeah, I still think that game was good for Illinois, even though you lose. You know,
really?
I think, yeah, I do, because I think you learned they were actually better. You know, following that game. Look, we do the schedule. We continue to do the schedule the way we do, Pete, because it's the way we've always done it. And if you looked at the sport in the context, some of which you just mentioned, we're playing a large portion of the season while football is still going on. We are playing our most important games when it comes to tournament selection, and we're also playing our most compelling games in terms of the entertainment product we're producing. We're playing those games at the point in the season when we have the fewest people watching the sport. So, you know, and this is not a novel idea. I just think we need to, you know, Jay Billis has talked about this before. I just think we need to amplify this more. If we want this to be a continuing entertainment product, and we want to continue to, especially in the months of January, February, and the beginning of March, we want to drive eyeballs to our sport, then we need to put the best games and the best brands and the best venues out there for public consumption. And in the way you do that, part of the problem, Pete, is as these conferences have grown, the majority of them are playing 20 conference games.
Yeah.
But half of those games, and that's conservative, I would say, for example, in the ACC, it's 3/4 of those games nobody cares about. Because the bottom halves of these leagues, that league in particular, those aren't good teams. Not only that, like if you're Duke, the conversation with Duke is, well, they haven't been challenged. Well, he tried by playing that Illinois game. He tried by playing games in November and December. But John Shire's playing a conference schedule that well, we'll see. But you could argue did not prepare that team as best it could, you know, going into the NCAA tournament. So I just think we need to flip the schedule. Now, this takes there's a lot of logistics that go around that. All these conferences have to get on board. We've got to shift the conference schedules more towards November, December. Save your great conference games, the rivalry games, the best brands, save those for later in the calendar. I just think we need to look at it differently than we have.
All right. So I wanted to ask you a question about, you mentioned that whole retooling of the schedule. Is that even possible? Are we living in a world where that could happen over the course of the next few years?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest hurdle is getting, you know, especially the conference commissioners to agree that in principle and conceptually, this is something that the sport needs. First of all, getting them to agree on anything is almost an impossibility. And getting them to agree on anything related to basketball is always going to take a back seat, Pete. It just is. But like I said, the way we are doing this schedule is archaic. And the reason we continue to do it the way we are doing it is because it's the way it's always been done. If you came down from outer space and you looked at the way that college basketball is doing its schedule right now, you would never do it the way we're doing it. You would completely flip it from the way that we're doing it. You would play the majority of these conference games in November and December, and you would schedule some of these. And look, some of those conference games you would keep in February and early March. But the majority of those games in those months would be those non-conference juicy brands and venues that we want.
All right, so take me into the Final Four now. A lot of excitement around this. We mentioned the 4 number 1 seeds. It is great. It really is great. I think you got a lot of interest from around the country. My heart is with Houston because, you know, just I'm a prisoner of the moment. You get a chance to do some Houston games. You fall in love with Kelvin Sampson. What does your head tell you when you look at this field in the Final Four? Again, like, it'd be so great to see Kelvin Sampson reach the mountaintop, you know, and win a championship. But Duke is in the way, and right now it is really hard for me to fathom a team beating them right now, even with the tenacious defense that Houston plays. And then you have the whole other side, too. We're not even talking about Florida right now.
Yeah, I think, first of all, with Houston Duke, Look, the one concern if you're Shire is the physicality of that game and how Duke handles it. I mean, Duke's big, but they start 3 18-year-olds. And if you look at Houston, those are grizzled men, up and down, they're grizzled men. And so, how does that manifest? Something like that hasn't really bothered Duke during the year, but that would be the one concern if I'm Shire. The fact of the matter, Pete, in this game is I think it comes down to the offensive end. As much as we've made about both of these defenses, the reason Duke is dominating at this point, their defense has been there all year. The reason Duke is dominating right now is offensively. In the 4 games in this tournament, they're averaging 91 points a game. They're shooting 56% from the field, and they're shooting 47% from 3. They're shooting the hell out of the basketball. They're incredibly unselfish. They're averaging 19 assists a game, and they're only turning it over about 7 times a game. Now, they did have 13 turnovers in that Alabama game. That hurt them a little bit in moments. But it's their offense, dude. They never take a bad shot. They just don't. And when you don't turn it over, you don't take a bad shot. And then you've seen the number of guys and the number of ways that they can score the basketball. It's incredibly imposing. My fear for Houston and by the way, Duke in practice every day plays against its own defense. So there's some scheme stuff that Houston does, 2 to the ball, the aggression that will be different for Duke. But ultimately for me, man, can Houston score enough? Yeah. Can that offense that, they're shooting the ball better, they shoot it, 40% from 3. They don't shoot a great volume. And I don't think.
And it still doesn't seem like, we talk about that. That's been the narrative. Oh, they got so much better shooting wise. Here's Emmanuel Sharp and LJ Cryer, and it's the best 3-point shooting team they've had all year. And sometimes I still don't see it come to fruition. Like, it's not worrisome, right? Their offensive attack. It just still is not.
And they will take a bad one, they will take a bad one. So that would be my thing for them is like Alabama had put up 113 against BYU. They had 65 against Duke. Can Houston score enough would be my concern.
All right. We look at the Final Four and in your history in the Final Four. Is there a guy, before I get to your history, that, I mentioned this in a conversation with you, John Wallace. I remember I was in college and, he had that tournament where he just caught fire, right? And they lost to Kentucky. Yeah. That was the one in Jersey. And he ended up getting drafted in the first round by the Knicks. It was probably a little overvalued, but again, he had an incredible tournament. Is there a guy this year you think that could emerge, that could become a household name, at least from March into April into May, that can really make a splash here?
A guy who's playing great and maybe people don't know his name necessarily, and I think he's a real X factor for Duke is Tyrese Proctor, shooting the heck out of the basketball. I mean, the point in the first and second rounds, what he did to Baylor. To me, he's the X factor. When you get to this point in the tournament, Pete, like all 4 of these teams can defend, and all 4 of them are going to be really good. Good teams are good at taking the best player out of the game. And so I think in both of these games, like for Duke, I think it's a Tyrese Proctor. Is there a game where he goes for 6 threes? Is there 7 threes? He has a big number. Like that's going to be, against Houston, it's not the guy coming off of the screen roll. It may not be the guy catching the first pass, but it's that second pass, that hockey assist where a guy on the opposite side is getting that 3. A Juwan Roberts is another guy that I think is big in this game against Duke. Can he have a game where he goes for 15 and 13 and people are like, who's this guy who's been playing 6 years for Kelvin Sampson? Who's this guy Juwan Roberts? So guys like that, I don't think it's the obvious. I think to your point, and John Wallace was a great player for Syracuse, obviously, but I think this tournament is going to be about those. It was Thomas Houck for Florida in that Elite 8 game. For Auburn, it could be any of those guys. Could be Pettiford, could be Miles Kelly, could be Denver Jones. They got a lot of those types of guys. I think in this Final Four, it's that one X factor for one of those or 2 of those teams that can explode.
Couple more for you before I get you out of here. What the hell happened to Texas Tech?
Yeah,
I was bummed about that. I mean, because with 2 minutes left, I felt like, wow, they just might be the better team. Even after Florida had made their little run, I was like, they're physical. I felt like they were manhandling the Gators, and then there you go. That 2 minutes that'll make you a champion. That Texas Tech will probably have another chance at here in the next few years to prove that they're equipped, but they just didn't have what it took. What did you see happen?
I think two things. First of all, you have to make free throws. Yeah. I mean, that's the obvious. You miss two front ends of a 1-and-1. That's bad. It doesn't get much better than that, worse than that. And then look, the other team has a lot to do with this. I mean, sometimes in that comeback, like we focus on Walter Clayton's 2 threes that cap the game, but to come back when you're down 9 with 3 minutes left, somebody's got to light the match, and it was Thomas Houck. He grabs that offensive. They're down 9 with 3 minutes left. He grabs that offensive rebound, bangs down a 3. Then he comes down the next 2:30 left. They're down 6. He bangs down another 3. And then Walter Clayton Jr., your closer, snatches the game. And that's where when you're down 9 with 3 minutes left, you're almost playing with nothing to lose. It's crazy to say, but you're down 9, 3 minutes left. Let's fire away. And then all of a sudden, like I said, that you light the match. And now and then there's 2 missed free throws. And now all of a sudden you've done it against UConn. Remember, I mean, Florida has been outplayed for 32 minutes against UConn, and they were outplayed for 37 minutes against Texas Tech. They've been outplayed in this tournament more than they have outplayed their opponent, but they have that guy. And when you have that guy, that closer, that finisher, like a Walter Clayton Jr. this time of year in these games, that is a real separator, a real difference maker.
Yeah, it's a real peace of mind type deal, I would imagine, for the rest of the team as well. A couple more things for you. All right, Kevin Willard, do you like the hire?
I like the hire. I pause.
That was a pause, Chris. Yeah, that was a pause.
Yeah. First of all, the way he handled the whole thing at Maryland, it was not a good look. And so, does that factor in? I think it'll be forgotten as he gets to Villanova, but that's what are we doing there? I wasn't a big fan of how all that went down. The other thing, Pete, I think he's a good coach. 3 years at Iona before he went to Seton Hall, 3 years at Iona, never made the tournament. Then he gets the job at Seton Hall, and he's a Big East guy. He's Ralph Willard's son. They're Big East folks. He's from New York. That's where he ultimately wanted to be. Seton Hall, he's there for 12 years. He went to the tournament 6 times. And never made it. I don't think he ever made it past the second round.
No, he didn't.
So, the hire at Maryland was a little bit of a dubious one for me. First of all, it's not really his DNA. And the success at Seton Hall was good, but it wasn't overwhelmingly good. Now, he did a good job in the 3 years. I mean, he makes the Sweet 16 this year, made the second round 2 years ago. So it was a good job with a Maryland program that had been down. But is this the guy who's going to bring Villanova back? You know that program better than I, so I won't speak to the NIL and sort of, the infrastructure there. But just from a coaching perspective, I like him, but I wasn't like, well, Villanova's got to get Kevin Willard. Yeah. Time will tell. I think he's a good coach, but the success where he's been has not been overwhelming.
All right, so the Social Replay is the show with Dallin Cuff and Chris Spatola. First of all, you have to watch it because it's funny. I mean, that's the number one thing. It's funny, and it makes you laugh. And there's also a ton of insight. You can catch them on Sirius XM. Of course, incredible ESPN analysts. Had the chance to work with you a bunch of times. Chris, you're the man. Here is one more question for you. When everything settles down at home in Durham, North Carolina, and you're just ready to chill with the wife, what show are you watching right now?
Ooh, good one. We are big Righteous Gemstones fans. Big. And then I have finally gotten her into White Lotus. For some reason, she was like not into that, but I convinced her because Walter Goggins, who's in Baby Billy, yes. Baby Billy from Righteous Gemstones, he's also in this season of White Lotus. So I finally got her turned over to White Lotus, and so we are caught up on both and love both. But it was Walter Goggins and showing the dong in the last 2 episodes. Showing the dong, making all of us average-sized dudes feel good about ourselves as he's water skiing with the dong swinging in the wind. It was the Walter Goggins that tipped her onto White Lotus. So that's what we're into now, brother.
Chris Spatola, man, thank you so much. I appreciate the time. I will be in touch, man.
You're the best. Thanks, Pete.
All right, see you, Chris.
Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
I need to get real excited.
Sure.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Sheridan Vasquez, and this is Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions. And I will be interviewing some of your favorite musicians and maybe some you've never heard before. Join me on Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions for something new every time. You can find Sheridan Soundcheck Sessions anywhere you get your podcast or at roguemediamusic.com. Yeehaw. And keep the music playing.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Visit blogify.ai today for a free 3-day trial. That's Blogify, Blogify.ai today. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIMX. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at eSIMX.com. That's ESIMX.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com.
During the break, like Chris is just really, really good. He's quick, he's smart, he gets it, he knows it, he's lived it. So great analysis there. Also, this guy's got some pop in his personality, so he's always fun to talk to. Rafael Devers doesn't have he's 0 for 19. Is that how he says his last name? Is it Devers or Devers? Devers. Yeah, because Cam will be talking about him today. 0 for 19. He was like the biggest deal in free agency for the Red Sox. I think that Cam shouldn't eat until he gets a hit. Something dramatic, because he'll probably get a hit soon. So I think he should go on a hunger strike till he gets a hit. That would be all day today because they don't play. What do you think?
That could turn from being unhealthy or that could turn in from being healthy if it's like a 1-day fast to very unhealthy if it's like a week.
Be awesome.
That's like very scary.
Because think about it.
What if they pull him out of the starting lineup?
Oh, that'd be even better. Because it's one thing if you're like, no, listen, it's one thing if you're like, hey, I'm not going to shave till he gets a hit. It's like big deal. He's going to get a hit soon.
Yeah, the Red Sox are going to watch the Cam show, and therefore suddenly he'll have hits.
But now, if he's not eating, that could be like a national story. If this guy starts off like 0 and 35.
I don't think anything's worth your health, Pete.
It's not my health. It's Cam. That's the point. Cam's coming up right after me here on the Rogan Media Network. Make sure you watch the Cam show. Like and subscribe. Don't blame me. We were talking before the show about the Cowboys, and Scotty's in my kitchen about how if I'm still bullish on Schottenheimer. I don't remember ever being bullish on him. I'm just not sky is falling Cowboys fan. I think there's reason for optimism. One thing I saw, Stephen Jones was talking yesterday to the media. Of course, Stephen Jones talking to the media is sitting down with Cowboys.com. At least that's where I got it from. And he did make a good point. I'm a sucker for some good PR. You know, the free agency this year is different for the Cowboys. Obviously, they haven't made any real moves yet, but they have coaches now. Coaches are more involved than ever because the new coaches on this staff that's turned over, they have experience with different players in the NFL. So like Matt Eberflus, your new defensive coordinator, is having more of a say-so in, hey, who we should look at. Of course, Schottenheimer has been with the Cowboys for a while, but been around the NFL for a long time. So there's another voice for the Cowboys. And that could be helpful. What else could be helpful is Dak Prescott losing a lot of weight. Scotty brought this to my attention. I had no idea. He's dropped 33 pounds. Now, I think I always thought he was maybe a little too compact, too running back-ish, just eye test-wise. But he's lost 33 pounds. Here's some video of him as Mike Hamilton enters the room and gives us the finger. Here's some video of Dak. Look at this. I mean, again, all the Dak drills and the dancing around, whatever. But I'm down with the physique. Scotty, give me your thoughts real quick about Dak and his new look.
Yeah, I think he looks good. And I think I mentioned to you that my only concern is he has been injury prone. And I just don't know enough about body science or anything to know if losing, he's lost about 33 pounds is the report. I don't know if losing that weight, I'm sure it helps his athleticism to an extent, but I hope it doesn't hurt his ability to stay healthy.
Does it frustrate you as an athlete who stays in shape when you see Dak Prescott go on Ozempic and drop 33 pounds?
Did you just say I'm an athlete who stays in shape? No, I'm not.
No, is Dak Prescott on Ozempic?
I'm gonna
We'll
dispel that conspiracy theory.
We'll say no.
I'm sure he's got the best doctors and strength training in the world, and he looks good. Like that's the thing.
Looks great.
When I read he lost 33 pounds, I was like, oh no. And then I saw the video. I'm like, oh, he's still jacked. Like he
doesn't look like Pookie
he's still
from New Jack
very
City.
much like a football player. But I just hope like if that weight loss means he's slightly more fragile. Like, again, I am a fan who has a little PTSD from Robert Griffin III. I thought he was going to be the best quarterback the NFL's ever seen, and he was too slight. Like, he kept, track body. He kept getting hurt. I mean,
I was going to ask parents when I went out to Tuesday with me. I wanted to ask them about the Stephen A. Smith and Robert Griffin beef. But
dude, they talked for an hour and a half on RG3's podcast last week.
I got to check it out.
I listened to every second.
Stephen A. Smith is like, where does he get the time?
Dude, here's the thing, like about that situation, by the way. You didn't ask, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah, please.
That conversation between him and RG3 in some moments was like nails on a chalkboard because both of those guys had to qualify everything. So it felt like every sentence was like, now you know I love you and I appreciate you. And I think first take. Stephen A. Smith at one point, I was the one saying you were Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson. I said that. They're both like every sentence was like, let me pound your ego a little bit, and then I'll give you my dissent. So some moments were like nails on a chalkboard, but it really was actually a fascinating conversation.
I tend to do that with the qualification, and I'm trying to get away from it. It doesn't make for people.
Well, I feel like you just have to do it once. Like, just do it once. Like just at the beginning of the show, you just one time say, "Hey, listen,
kiss a little ass." And
I respect you as a man. I respect you as a broadcaster. I respect you, whatever. And we're going to disagree, and then move on. Disagree.
Stephen A., with all his success, is such a pain in the ass. When the tournament started, he had Jay Billis on his show, his YouTube show. I don't know. You may have heard this because I know you listen.
I do. Yeah.
I mean, it was like before he would ask Billis a question, he would go 5 minutes on what he knew about the question he was about to ask, and then also qualify that he didn't know as much as Billis. But he would talk for so. I'd be like, just get to it.
Listen, I didn't actually watch that interview, but I can just picture like, Jay, let me tell you. I have great respect for you. This is your area, but let me tell you real quickly. what I think about the Florida Gators. And then he
says,
I mean, I can
going
hear
all
him
the way
doing
back
it.
to Billy Donovan and Andrew DeClerc and what have you.
I was there with Joe Kim Noah and those boys. They won a championship. I was right there for
with
that.
Al Horford on the podium.
I can hear the whole thing.
Totally.
Like, we all know. But then again, the guy's like just signed a massive contract,
dude, he's the
mega
best.
talent.
Stephen A is the best.
And we've talked about, we appreciate him because he was a journalist.
Yes.
So he is not just a talking head flapping mouth. Like, the dude has sources.
Dude made his bones covering
Doing
Winston-Salem
real journalism.
Real soccer. All right, last thing. Do we have the clips on our boy who won the dunk contest last night? All right, good news, Baylor fans. Let's switch over real quick. This is a lot of fun. We got our boy Tindu Yesufu is what we're calling him right now.
Isn't it?
Tunde Yesufu won the dunk contest last night, Baylor fans, at the McDonald's All-American game. Let's take a look at some of the footage. This is a big deal. If you don't like what's going on with like some of these high school basketball all-star games, and you don't like what's going on with the NBA dunk contest, you can get with this. Ooh! Especially if you're a Baylor fan. So the guy didn't just participate in the dunk contest, he won it. Which look, there's only going to be one VJ Edgecombe, right? But hey, it's nice to have a little explosion, right? Back in what do they call that new place now? Foster Pavilion. So Tunde is a top 15 prospect, right, Scotty?
Top 7 in some of the rank. Like, he's very highly regarded. Yeah.
All right. Stay optimistic, Baylor fans. We're going to get out of here. Coming up next is the Cam Show. One last thing I wanted to get to. Just one last thought. Shams Charania is an absolute beast, dude. I'm watching the women's basketball final 8 game last night. And along the crawler at the bottom of the screen, it's talking about how Olivia Miles, who's a women's basketball player at Notre Dame, is going to enter the transfer portal and not go to the WNBA draft and not stay at Notre Dame. Like, where does Sean, like, isn't there a corner for some, like can Doris Burke break that? I don't know, like Beth Mullins, can she break that? Like, why does Shams have to be on that corner too? I think it goes always, as always with a lot of this stuff, it goes back to agents, and he's probably got relationships with whoever her agent is. But yeah, Shams is just a beast, dude. He's breaking everything. Like, he's going to be sooner or later, like across my timeline from CNN, it's going to say Shams Charania reports that Stephen A. Smith is running for president or something like that. But pretty interesting. Cam Stewart, man, he's asking for another code, so we got to let him get in and get going. The Cam Show's coming up. The Pete Sousa Show is back tomorrow. A couple other big guests coming up this week. Tim Welsh from ESPN, former Providence basketball coach. Also looking at a former Baylor football star. Scotty's on that, and we are out of here. Slovacics, thank you.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference, because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. We are Rogue Media Sports.